Hello, Taurus, and welcome to your March 2024 horoscope. So, here this month, there is a lot happening in your area of friendships, group activities, and also long term goals and plans and hopes for the future. So, this is where the major highlight is present here throughout the month. And this month also, we will resume the eclipses season yet again. So, here during the eclipses season, this is usually when things happen, and the eclipses usually tend to accelerate the timeline. This is also the final month when all the planets are moving in a direct motion. As of April, Mercury will station retrograde, and then other planets will follow. All right, so as we begin the month, Venus is still in Aquarius in your area of career. So overall here, throughout the month of February, your career was really, really highlighted and emphasized. And now in March, this is the area of Pisces that is highlighted. And as we begin the month, Venus is still in your 10th house. So the last final emphasis upon your career here is activated, and this is when Venus will square Uranus in Taurus, and that will be at 19 degrees of Aquarius and Taurus. That's where Uranus will be present. So we've got a clash of energies here, tense energy, that's a square, and that's between your 10th house of career, public reputation, but also this could be about your parental figure being highlighted during this time as well. And we've got the square to Uranus in Taurus in your first house. Venus is your ruler. So out of all the signs, yourself and Libras will be especially here influenced or impacted as a result of this square. It doesn't have to be anything overly dramatic. Very often when Venus and Uranus clash in energies, this is when we want to free ourselves from something that has been hanging around. We didn't have enough courage or motivation to get rid of it, or from move away from this, negative cycle. And finally, we have this rebel inside of us, and we have the energy to make it happen. So overall here, yes, your career is emphasized, and because that's Venus is a faster moving planet than Uranus. So Venus comes into the 19th degree of Aquarius, and then it gets triggered by Uranus. So here the energy is slowed down around the 3rd of March. And overall here, this is about that need to express yourself freely, authentically. If there is someone or something that has been kind of holding you back and delaying your progress, perhaps creating frustration, obstacles with Uranus and Venus square, this is when generally you will say enough is enough. So during this time, you might seek a greater independence in your life and perhaps more freedom as well. And there could be this feeling of restlessness that you might experience as well as a result of that Uranian influence, or perhaps that rebel inside you could become activated and awake as well. Now, at the same time, you might be drawn to different, unique ways to express yourself. Or perhaps this could be about some unconventional or non-traditional even ways to perhaps express yourself in your outside world, in your career life as well. Perhaps you have this strong need to change your direction in one way or another. Let's not forget Pluto is here now since the 20th of January. And this means that you are undergoing this major shift in your career life, whether this is through your own efforts, whether this is through your through external influences. There is this major shift taking place. So there could be a little bit of tension, there could be a little bit of effort you might have to implement in order to perhaps get out of this situation, of a situation that emerged around the 3rd of March. But at the same time, this is also about finding a healthy balance between your personal life and your career life. If you've been overly perhaps dedicated towards your career and you neglected your own personal needs and desires, this will show up. and this will become more noticeable, and it could be quite irritating if you don't have time for your for self-care, self-love even. So overall, it's generally here this square is reminding you to find or to remember to find a healthy balance. But at this point, you might have to perhaps find a way out, or perhaps think carefully of how you can do things perhaps differently in order to find a healthier balance between these two areas of your life. At the same time, perhaps if you've been dealing with lots of obligations, responsibilities in your career, at this point you might also feel like you want to do something that will bring a little bit of more comfort into your life. So overall, this is generally about also feeling or doing things more authentically. With that Venus and Uranus square, and Venus being your chart ruler, it's generally this is a journey towards kind of a liberation as well from any obstacles, any heavy energies. Because I think for many Taurus, there has been so much happening here in this area of public reputation, career, and Venus in Uranus square will finally help you to face something that perhaps has been kind of going on behind the scenes or in the background of your life. But now the time would have come to deal with this situation and to work things out. All right, so here on the 10th, we've got a new moon in Pisces, and this is when we start this major influence upon this area of your life. So here your friendships, your well, group activities, but also anything to do with your goals, hopes, dreams, wishes for the future as well. Saturn in your 11th house overall can bring setbacks, delays, and perhaps it might also make feel like some people have deserted you or have disappeared from your life, have distanced yourself. Perhaps you have this also need to withdraw out of the social scene to see or to reevaluate who is your true friend, or perhaps your friendships in general. Now, a new moon is about new beginnings, and this new moon is especially important because it connects to a lunar cycle. Well, a lunar eclipse more specifically, that will be next year in September. We'll have a lunar eclipse, and so whatever that you start will have a huge impact upon your life. Here, your friendships, your goals, and your social connections, networking, here connections as well. And here it will be especially illuminated next year in September. So keep it in mind. Take notes to remember, because the new moons that connect to lunar eclipses, they are especially important because they bring some major highlights once the eclipse is activated and takes place. Right. So yes, new beginnings, perhaps a new connection, opportunity for networking. Perhaps you're joining a new membership, a new group, environment. Perhaps you have this need to connect to more like-minded people as well. And at this point, we've got a connection with Neptune and Saturn, which are both here in your 11th house. So Saturn gives that sober and realistic thinking, and at the same time wants you to proceed with caution without rushing things through. Well, Neptune represents very different energies. Neptune can bring a little bit of confusion and delusion, but at the same time, it's a very spiritual new moon, and a time also when you might be dedicating some of your energies to help others in a spiritual sense, in a charity work of some kind, or a volunteering as well. So overall here, I think it's definitely a new moon when journaling could be something really therapeutic, but at the same time, it's very artistic and creative time when you might actually be involved in some community work, working with others towards a common cause. This could be very much the case as well. At the same time, it could be redefining your goals, taking a more sober approach, while there's this dreamy side of your psyche truly activated. So you will have to kind of prioritize your goals around this time. See what is truly important at this point in your life, achievable as well. Here on the 17th, we've got as the Sun and Neptune conjunction, and this is happening at 27 degrees of Pisces. So this is also happening in this area of your life, following this new moon on the 10th. Very dreamy and a time of heightened emotions, heightened intuition as well. And it's a really fantastic time for really engaging in activities of a spiritual, creative nature. So it's a very, very creative time, but a time when you might actually want to work with other people, join forces with others, join perhaps some communities or some group online or in person, whatever is easier, whatever is possible in your current reality. On the 21st, Venus and Saturn will join forces. Another big event for you, dear Taurus, because here Venus is your chart ruler. And that's on the 21st at 12 degrees. So, what this means is that here, first of all, here, this is about seeking more stability in your friendships and friendship connections. And I think after that new moon, while now you might actually not truly understand what this could be about on a more personal level, after the new moon in Pisces, you will have a more greater clarity of what you could possibly expect to happen here with these energies being present. But this is a time when you might have to make some important decisions. It's not just where Venus is and Saturn are present. This is also connected to to your own goals, your own desires. This could be about your work situation as well, since at the end of this month, we've got a lunar eclipse in Libra happening, and that's a lunar eclipse on a south node. So it will be about a point of release, shifting away from old patterns, but I will get there in a moment. Now, here with Venus and Pisces and Saturn conjunction in Pisces, this is about generally, so yes, stability, discipline, and greater responsibility when it comes to your goals, your dreams, your hopes for the future, friendships. You take a more sober approach at this point when it comes to your social connections. Perhaps there's a need to bring more structure into this area of your life and to become more decisive, more concrete when it comes to the people that you let into your life. And there could be lots of realizations and thoughts going through your mind as well concerning your friendships, concerning the groups that you belong to as well. Now, with the Saturn and Venus conjunction, Saturn is connected to hard work. Perhaps you need to work a little bit harder. Perhaps you need to implement a different strategy to reach certain goals and hopes and ambitions. At the same time, perhaps this is about letting go of a certain either objective or connection in your life to make room, to make space for new opportunities to take place as well. If we hold on to something that outlived its purpose or fulfilled its purpose, and if we don't want to move forward, there will be a feeling of generally or a sense of being stuck in a certain situation. So here at this point, you might be reaching a moment or a point in your life when you will have to let go of certain patterns, certain people, connections in your life. And this way you will open your energy field to new energies, new people, opportunities, possibilities to come to you. I know for Taurus, as a fixed sign, might be difficult to let go because you might be fearing the change, the unknown, but it's very healthy in many, many ways to let go. But here you're being prepared for this journey step by step, gradually. It's not a sudden process. As you can see, your ruler Venus is very active this month. First, we've got this major square to Uranus. Then you've got the Saturn and Venus conjunction as you move into this lunar eclipse towards the end of the month. Now, on the 22nd Mars, we move into Pisces. So overall, with Mars in the 11th house for 6 weeks from the 22nd of March, this is a time when you might feel more assertive in group settings, group environments, teamwork, and in some social networking events as well. But at the same time, you need to be mindful of how your actions, of how your words, your behavior impact others or other people around you. especially if you feel overly confident. So it's something to kind of be aware of, moderation. But at the same time here, since the 11th house is associated with our goals, aspirations, this is a time when you can really work towards the necessary steps you need to take towards reaching certain goals and objectives. As you can see, you had a few Saturnian influences this month, which could have made you or would have made you by this point perhaps more realistic about your goals and expectations. Now, with Mars in the 11th house, you can work gradually towards achieving your goals, achieving your objectives. It doesn't have to happen overnight, but perhaps if you can create a plan and set yourself certain little goals towards reaching these big milestones, then you can reach that fulfillment and a greater life satisfaction as well. Okay, so yes, increased social activity, and overall with Mars here, it's a really good time to work with other people. Perhaps you'll be leading a group or you'll be doing some public speaking, presenting work. Mars here gives you the courage to perform in a larger environment. While Mars in the 12th house likes to work independently on their own, Mars in the 11th house likes to or performs well in group settings. And Mars in the 7th house, on the other hand, likes to work in the one-to-one connections rather than in big, large groups. So here we've got the final event of the month. That's the Libra lunar eclipse happening on the 25th at 5 degrees of Libra. Now, this particular lunar cycle is connected to the new moon we had back in September 2022. So if you can remember what you initiated around that time, this can help you to understand what sort of situations could possibly emerge, take place, happen around this lunar eclipse. That's why it's good, so good to take notes and write things down, because it's difficult to remember, what happened 2 years ago or 19 months ago. But if you do, then this can give you a lot of clarity. Here, this is about your work. Of course, with a lunar eclipse, it's usually the two houses that are activated, where they are activated, in fact. And the sun will be in your 12th house at that point, and the moon will be in your 6th house. So your work, your lifestyle is changing. Lifestyle changing. You're moving away from old patterns, old habits, old routines, whatever fulfilled or outlived its purpose. As you move into a different phase in your life, with that Pluto in the 10th house, the eclipse is on the 6th and the 12th. At the same time, this could be about healing. This could be about changing your diet. Perhaps you're closing your business, you're retiring, or you're returning back to work. So generally, whatever that you do is undergoing a little shift as well. How you work, how you do things. Perhaps you'll be working from home more often than from the office or vice versa. But overall, this daily life is undergoing a change. There's a need to implement some necessary adjustments. So at the same time, we've got an out of sign opposition to Neptune in Pisces. So this isn't the best time to making any sudden drastic changes. You need to sit down and think carefully about what is it that you want to change in your life. Because with the 6th house activation, very often you might decide you want to start jogging, you want to start exercising, you're changing your wardrobe, because suddenly you realize that perhaps it doesn't really fit into your reality anymore. Perhaps you want to be more active, you need more active wear. For instance, perhaps you want to change your diet, become vegetarian or pescatarian. Or, for example, you want to have your own business, you want to learn new skills or update your skills, for example. With the sun being in the 12th house, you need to take care of yourself. Self-care, self-love, and use your energy wisely, because it's very easy to burn out with that south node in the 6th, the sun in the 12th. So here, this is a time to also make sure that you find time for rest, nature, whatever that brings comfort into your life, whatever that makes you feel relaxed as well. Venus will be in your 12th house at that point as well. All right, so we will explore it further closer to the day. Thank you very much Taurus, I wish you a pleasant month. And until the next time, bye for now.